All right, so I'm watching a documentary about sort of the life of a dairy cow, and the farmers agreed to be filmed for this documentary. And one of the things that really caught me off guard was that they were willing to show how they remove the horns of the cow. So often we get people who come and try to claim that it's not painful for the cow to have their horns removed, or that they use painkillers, which, you know, is repeatedly denied by, you know, the organizations that research this, saying, you know, and oftentimes it's organizations that are meant to be speaking out in defense of dairy, saying that they don't actually use painkillers, that it's just, you know, time consuming and costly, and so it's just easier to remove the horns without, sorry, we're being laid on, horns without using any kind of painkillers. And one of the ways is, you know, an acid paste that they put on the horn buds to remove them. This acid eats into the buds and into the head of the cow. It obviously burns, it's an acid, and it is clearly stated, even with using painkillers, it is still very painful. But in this film that I'm watching, they actually use the burning out method, where they take sort of a hot iron that they stick up against the head of the cow and actually melt out pieces of like the skin there till they get down to the bud, and then melt the bud so that the bud is gone and they won't grow horns. Obviously immensely painful, and this happens, you know, to every cow on every dairy farm, because it's not because they want to protect the cows, it's because they're worried that the cows are going to attack them with the horns, because, oh, you just hit me with your leg. Can you stretch in? Hi. So it's because they are worried that the cows are going to fight back against them and use their horns to protect themselves, because it is one of their few means of protection against a farmer who will push them around their entire life to take their babies, to take their milk. And so, you know, the farmers do not want them having horns for their own good, because they view, you know, the cows essentially as objects that they own, that they can use how they want. And so to see them just burn these horns out in this painful way, you know, like imagine taking a hot iron to your skin and melting through it till you get down to, you know, something beneath the skin. It's going to be insanely painful, you know, and, you know, this is not a vet often that's doing it, you know, often it is just someone quickly doing it on a farm to ensure that there's no buds of these horns that will grow into their skull. And then of course the other awful way, which I just saw a farmer showing proudly in a how-to demonstration on YouTube, showed him literally clipping the horns off right down, you know, almost to the skull to get the bud out, saying, you know, make sure you get it all or they might grow back. And so, you know, just this horrific things that is just this teeny piece of the horrific things that they do to dairy cows. Like, you know, Jenna's mom would be in that situation, unfortunately, and Jenna just escaped by being infertile, and they were just going to shoot her because she was infertile. It's not like they were going to give her a great life. You know, dairy exists solely to profit dairy farmers. It does not exist in any way to benefit cows. And so, you know, when I hear convoluted arguments about how, well, cows in the wild would die these awful ways, so it really is humane to shoot them in the head with a bolt gun. I mean, this is just, you could justify anything by saying, well, something worse could happen, so I'm going to do this awful thing. As long as you can think of something worse, then you can justify the slightly less worse thing. And so to say that because cows in nature might die in a bad way, that shooting them in the head with a bolt gun is okay is just insanity. But, you know, the people supporting those ideas and spouting those ideas have a vested interest in believing it. They want to believe what they're doing is okay. You know, to animals like Jenny here, who truly just want to be loved, be hugged, and, you know, be part of a family, not be treated like, you know, servants or slaves that have to make milk for a profit for some guy who then shoots them in the head when it slows down. So it's truly awful to see what lives cows would have. and do have when they are on a dairy farm, even the best dairy farms. They're just products in the eyes of the dairy farmer, and they kill them when they're not useful to them anymore. They abuse them along the way. There really just is no right way to have animals that you're using for profit. Right, kiddo? I love you.